The size of the game industry and the entertainment market will no longer be invisible. For example, Pokemon is the biggest IPC in the entertainment industry with $113 billion. By the way, it's so big that it's only worth collecting Star Wars and Marvel. In this case, it is inevitable to see games in other big branches of the entertainment industry. The world is completely based on games. Wreck-It Ralph or Ready Player One movies are very successful examples, for example. Of course, there are a lot of greetings to the movies in the games. For example, the Terminator 2 reference in Doom 2016 or the GLaDOS in Portal 2 are completely inspired by the Hyel 9000 in Space Odyssey. Wait, is there really not even one? In the past, it was the turn of Doom 3 when I wiped the old FPSs and swept them. The game was pretty good, but there was a big flaw. As you can see in the video right now, the map of the game is mostly such small rooms. The bad side of the job is that they all look alike. The game makes you feel like you are in a maze, and it is inevitable to be surprised where you will go most of the time. When this happened, I started playing the game with a walk trough open tab at the bottom tab. When I saw that I was watching a 6-hour Doom 3 video on YouTube, my main page started to be filled with Doom content. Meanwhile, the trailer of the Doom movie that came out in 2005 fell on my main page and I said, "Wow, there is a Doom movie." Yes, at that time I gave the same soulless reaction because I was already aware that dandy movies were made for every game unrelated to 15 to 20 years ago. I watched the trailer again, and it was really terrible. Yes, the movie was really bad. Even Carl Orban, whom we know as The Boys, and Dwayne Johnson, unfortunately cannot save the movie. So who was the idea to make a horror movie for Doom? They couldn't even handle the theme of fear well. Now you can say that this quality is special to Doom and a few other movies, and that it is a successful example, such as Mario and Uncharted movies. Yes, the Mario movie looks pretty good when you think of other game movies, but of course, it has a lot of effect on being an animation in this. I also went through the headsets of Pixar or DreamWorks. Even Across the Spider-Verse, which came out the same year as the Mario movie, is actually a good enough example to understand that Mario is not such a good movie. By the way, while saying Ready Mario, it seems that Nintendo will direct its game films to the mountains in the coming years. We already know that Mario's sequel or a Zelda movie will come, but there are rumors that a Pikmin movie is also part of the plans. How will they make the Pikmin movie? How will they write a story for Pikmin? I'm really curious. But if the movie comes, I hope they will say hello to Pikmin who says creep. If we talk about Uncharted, so I look at the movie's scores, it's not that high. If you say that it's a success, it's not a success. Don't think that the movie budget is $120 million. With things like advertising expenses, it easily exceeds $200 million. And $400 million is not really a successful success. I'm not even talking about finding them in a story that tells the story of Nathan Drake's past independently of the games, thinking that we should squeeze Tom Holland into the movie somehow. I don't even hear a game movie that is well accepted except for these two. Let it be the Mortal Kombat movies in the 90s, which are eye-catching with their acting and visual effects. Let it be the Resident Evil movie series that tells its story in a way that is broken from the games. It's full of low-budget bad game movies on the market. Warner Brothers is the only company that took over Mashali in these days. I can accept the Minecraft movie for a while because it is a movie that does not even try to be successful. It's a parody. CG I can also be accepted at least. But if we look at the FNAF movie, especially the animatronic designs, no. I will not talk about this. At least you should have adapted the story from the civil rights book. If not, it had its way, and it was a beautiful source that is still standing. In addition to these, there is also a Portal movie that Warner Brothers still has in its vision schedule. Please don't. Portal 2 is one of my favorite games. I want everything about Portal to stay beautiful in my mind. So if we go back to the question at the beginning of the video, isn't there a really good movie? In fact, there is a movie that we can accept well. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Yes, Scott Pilgrim is an original cartoon series, and I know that the game came out a little earlier than the movie. But I really didn't think of a better example. So what did Scott Pilgrim do, right? Of course, it allowed us to keep our expectations low. Scott Pilgrim has a simple story. Scott is a Canadian young man. He falls in love with a girl named Ramona. But in order to be with Ramona, he must first defeat his 7X bad boyfriend. Yes, we have such an absurd concept. Anyway, not being serious and having depth is what makes him so good. Now you can say that 7 lovers represent 7 types of sins, but it's better if we don't go that far. Because it's just a picture on paper. In our game, both the section designs and the gameplay are well reflected in the 90s beat-em-ups. In fact, the section selection screen was made entirely from Super Mario 3. The similarity is obvious. Even if I don't own the movie as much as the general audience, I will not deny that it is a really good job. I can say that Scott Pilgrim is the most successful example of live-action adaptation, especially for cartoons and games. It is really appreciated that the movie can work 7 bad things in 2 hours. It took 2 movies for Tarantino to work almost as bad as Kill Bill. The acting was also great. Very few people could play Scott as well as Michael Cera. In addition, I would like to point out that we know Lucas Lee as Captain America and Chris Evans in the movie. Despite everything, the movie unfortunately goes down badly and a new one is added to the group of movies that were later agreed on. In addition to these, there is an anime called Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, which Netflix released 2 years ago. Although the story continues as we know it until the end of the first episode, it also offers an alternative timeline. It is a 20-minute, 8-part short-term structure. I recommend Scott Pilgrim to those who like it. He is already making the anime that we know from Dandadan. So I can easily say that it is above a certain quality. Even though things are like this on the film side, especially in recent years, quite successful things are coming out in the direction of the series. And no, I'm not talking about Halo. That series was a mistake. But apart from that, good things have really increased in the series. Although there are many reasons for this, I think the main secret is that the series can be longer, and the duration of the games can be captured very easily. Thus, the Last of Us series can do a very faithful job in the game. Or the Fallout series can reflect the universe of games in such a successful way. The movie games video I mentioned at the beginning of the video, and if you want a video where I will stay more on this section, you can mention it in the comments. While watching the video so far, in order to like the video and be aware of the following content instantly, of course, being a subscriber is one of the options.